November 2, 2016. Redding, California. When Keith Papini came home from work, his wife Sherri wasn't there. More alarming, she hadn't picked up their two young children from daycare. The 34-year-old mother had gone for her usual afternoon jog and vanished. Her phone was found on the ground with strands of her blonde hair attached. A massive search began immediately. Keith appeared on Good Morning America, pleading for his wife's safe return, insisting she would never abandon their family. The FBI, local police, and hundreds of volunteers scoured Northern California. Sherri Papini's face was everywhere, a beautiful young mother, gone without a trace. 22 days later, on Thanksgiving morning, a motorist spotted a woman stumbling along Interstate 5 to 146 miles from where Sherri disappeared. It was her. She was emaciated, bruised, with a chain around her waist and a brand burned into her shoulder. At the hospital, Sherri told a horrifying story. Two Hispanic women had abducted her at gunpoint, held her captive, beat her repeatedly, and tortured her. She couldn't identify where she'd been held. Keith stood by her side as she recounted the nightmare to investigators. The nation was captivated. The search shifted from finding Sherri to finding her abductors. But behind closed doors, investigators were beginning to notice something strange. Her story had inconsistencies. For 4 years, the case went cold. No suspects, no leads. Police analyzed surveillance footage, interviewed hundreds of people, followed every tip. Nothing. Then in 2020, investigators used genetic genealogy to test DNA found on Sherri's clothing. The match came back to James Reyes, Sherri's ex-boyfriend from years ago. When questioned, Reyes initially denied seeing Sherri, but eventually broke down. The truth was devastating. Sherri had contacted him weeks before her disappearance, asking if she could stay with him. For those 22 days, everyone thought she was kidnapped. She was voluntarily living at his home in Costa Mesa, California. She had planned everything. The injuries? Self-inflicted. The brand on her shoulder? Done with a tool while at his house. In March 2022, FBI agents arrested Sherri Papini. She was charged with 34 counts of mail fraud and making false statements to federal officers. The evidence was overwhelming. DNA, cell phone records, rental car receipts. She had defrauded the California Victim Compensation Board out of $30,000, claiming PTSD from her abduction. She'd collected Social Security disability benefits, all based on lies. In April 2022, just days after her arrest, Keith filed for divorce and requested emergency custody of their children. 1 month later, Sherri pleaded guilty. In a statement, she said she was deeply ashamed and apologized for the pain she caused. In September 2022, she was sentenced to 18 months in federal prison and ordered to pay over $300,000 in restitution. Sherri was released from prison in early 2023. Keith was granted full custody of their two children, now allowed only supervised monthly visits with their mother. In 2024, multiple documentaries examined her case, and Sherri finally broke her silence. In a new tell-all interview, she now claims a different version of events, that she was actually abducted by Reyes when she tried to end their affair. The government has confirmed she still owes over $300,000 in restitution, having paid back less than $2,000. Keith says he hasn't spoken to Sherri since the truth came out. He can't trust anything she says. Their children are caught in the middle of a woman who deceived an entire nation, cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars, and wasted thousands of investigative hours. The perfect wife had told the perfect lie.